www.thegreatwhitebrotherhood.org.
The Higher Self, Akashic Record, and Imagination. Everything is made of vibration. Pictures are of a higher vibration than sound, but it is all vibrations, acting together, to create a film. But each object that was filmed, people, buildings, vehicles, plants, animals, each had both their unique frequencies, plus the frequencies of the place where they were filmed, and also, of the time when they were filmed. Now, in fact, nothing really exists, but it is possible, via these different frequencies, to create apparent reality. If the correct frequency is chosen, a certain object corresponding to that frequency appears. This is where things get complicated, because all that was filmed was not only recorded into the camera, but recorded into the Akashic record. The Akashic record is connected to our higher self, in the fifth dimension. Higher self is also connected to imagination, in the sixth dimension. So, the thoughts of the filmmaker, and all the actors, or objects that took part in the film, which was recorded into the camera, were actually all going through higher self, and into imagination. There is only one higher self, and one imagination. So, what we consider to be recorded into a camera, is actually all the participants sending thoughts to the higher self, which transferred it to imagination, so that the filmmaker could see it on his screen, and it was also stored in the Akashic record, which is in higher self. So, nothing in a physical sense, was actually filmed into the camera. It is the participant's higher self and imagination, that created a play, that was stored into the Akashic record. When we look at a film on our computer screen, we are actually accessing the higher self and imagination of all that took part. As everything is recorded into the Akashic record, that is what we see. So, when at home, we access a film, video, we actually see the actors, as they are being filmed. It is as if you are on the set, watching the film being made. This is because, there is only one higher self, and one imagination. The Akashic record is a real-time event, not a recording, but the actual live event, as it is being recorded. Obviously, it is a bit more complicated than we have explained, as the editing people influence the film, as their higher self and imagination interact with the live event. But, to try and answer the question in a simple fashion, we must try to understand, that the computer does not really exist. The screen does not really exist. Neither does the massive electronic equipment, that we call the internet, exist. All that exists, is consciousness, and that is connected to the one higher self, and the one imagination. Akashic record, is all part of this. So, when we watch a video, in reality, we are connecting to higher self, and to imagination, and we access this film in real time, as if we are there, when and where, the film was made. We see, via the Akashic record, the film at the moment it is being made. All this is because, there is only one higher self, one imagination, and one Akashic record. We must also understand, that all this is possible, because people and things do not exist as solid objects. There are just vibrations, joining together, and our imagination creates people and objects, from these vibrations. Here are answers, to possible questions. Question. Do I access the Akashic record through higher self, to recreate, through imagination, my computer, desk, walls, floor, and so on, each time? Or, is the computer, desk and so on, created new again, every time? I have a feeling, that once something has been created for the first time, we simply access the Akashic record, to bring it back into imagination, and then, it is available, and likely reduces energy, because it is already created, recorded, and stored in the Akashic record. Answer. The way that the Akashic record works, is that, every micro-instant, every frame of time, is recorded. However, please remember that, between each frame, the whole of existence is annihilated, which enables the archangels, charged with creating life, to alter everything, if necessary. So, in fact, even the Akashic record is obliterated, and then all of it, going back to the moment when it was created, is recreated, very much as it was before. However, as what we call living things contain DNA, and the DNA of everything is altered countless times a second, the DNA of living things, going back to the beginning, is slightly altered. Now, as everything is one, this implies that even inanimate objects, metals, plastics, stones, etc., also have DNA, and so, all of them are removed, and then recreated. Also, as the Akashic record is actually what has been referred to as a living library, it implies that the Akashic record is not so much a dead recording of events and objects, but are living and real-time frames of time. So, to answer the question, a desk, computer, screen, walls, and everything contained within a room, are not only themselves being created and destroyed over and over again, but the Akashic record of those objects are being created and destroyed also at the same rate, and at the same time. All life everywhere blinks in and out of existence, endlessly. So, the room, and everything in it, is created anew, and slightly altered, each time. Nothing is recorded, in a static sense. Question. So, in relation to the previous question, how come there are certain things we access from the Akashic record, that are available to everyone to access easily and freely, like YouTube videos, information on the internet and so on, but then, there are other things in the Akashic record, that are not accessible to the public? Answer. Nothing is hidden, but it is our ability to access some things, that gives the impression that some things are hidden. If man learned to access the Akashic record, all enemies' secrets would be known. It is also worth remembering that we can only really access that which we can comprehend. So, some spiritual events, some alien technologies, appear secret, but it is just that we could not comprehend. Question. Continuing on with this theme, as the Great White Brotherhood stated, nothing exists anyway, but our consciousness, so then, I presume that what is happening then, is that we, our individual aspect of God, somehow accesses the higher self to access the Akashic record, and then, uses imagination to recreate something that we can experience through the many auras that have been created. That is how we are able to experience anything. Answer. The higher self and the Akashic record are actually one and the same thing, which is a subject that we have yet to discuss. So, the higher self, which is also the Akashic record, passes the blocks of information being created and destroyed, countless times a second, to imagination, which converts it to a stream of information, that we can receive in our minds, and, hopefully, comprehend. Question. Does the higher self send out the blocks of information all the time, meaning, all information at once, to the imagination, and only the information that we, as individuals, are able to comprehend, or is attuned to a frequency, that is in alignment with us, either as it is our coded frequency, or frequency that we can understand, brought into our consciousness, and we can experience it? Or, does the higher self only send the information requested by our consciousness, to the imagination, for us to experience? Answer. As you know, the higher self and the Akashic record seem to be closely connected at all times, and are considered to be the same thing. Now, the higher self, being God, knows everything that there is to know about all subjects. In fact, the higher self does not retain all that knowledge in its own memory. All this knowledge is stored in the Akashic record. Think of a computer. Imagine the Akashic record as a memory, and the higher self as a program in a computer. So, the higher self is able to send a command to the memory, for whatever information it requires. That information is recuperated by the program, higher self, from the Akashic record. But, the higher self has previously been given a directive from the person requiring that information. That person, you, is actually the id. So, when you want to know something, it is the id, that is you. The id sends a request to the higher self, and the higher self gets it from the Akashic record. Then, the higher self sends a block of information, that contains the answer to your question to imagination, that sorts it out, and sends it as a stream of information through imagination, to the id, you, and you now get the information, and know the answer to your question. You may have noticed that, sometimes, you puzzle to get the answer to a question, and you eventually get the answer, but it also is muddled up with other information, not directly related to the specific question that you are looking for an answer to. That is because, the higher self gets from the Akashic record, information that you requested, but that is mixed up with other, perhaps related information, but not directly connected to the specific question you desire. The higher self sends it all anyway to imagination, and imagination tries to sift the wheat from the chaff, but sends you more than you directly requested. Then it is up to the id to try to understand the bit of information required, and reject the rest. Question. How does our consciousness, the individual that I am of God, access the imagination, higher self, and the Akashic record? Answer. I have answered this in the previous question. The id is you. It is also everyone. The id is not stuck in one place. It can wander about, through the various aspects of us, imagination, Akashic record, and other parts of what goes to make up a person. Now, the id is what you would call you. It is the person that looks back at you in a mirror. So, as I said, the id sends a request for information to the higher self, which recuperates it from the Akashic record, and it is sent to imagination, which streams it to id, you. So, in a way, the id can talk to higher self and ask for information, as it can wander up to higher self and directly request information. Question. So, the higher self and the Akashic record everything that is going on with all the various aspects of God, to be passed on to God for wisdom. I think I can comprehend that. What I would like to know is, how is our consciousnesses creating the new things to be recorded? How do we create new things to be recorded by the higher self, and the Akashic record? Is anything able to be created new? Answer. Although the higher self is considered to know everything, every moment of your life, and everyone else's life, is being recorded into the Akashic record, millions of little snapshots a second. So, as higher self and Akashic record are part of you, and higher self is God, all that you record into the Akashic record, is automatically sent to higher self, which, in turn, sends it to God. You may only exist as a dot of life, but you have the ability to think, and to create. God is always grateful to know how you are getting on, and learns by your experiences. Question. As I have been told, that everything already exists, all that ever was, is, and will ever be, already exists, are there any new thoughts? Are there any new creations? Or, is all we are doing, is playing with all that already exists, like a child exploring their surroundings, and discovering things for the first time, only that they already exist, but they are new to the child? In one of the chapters, the Great White Brotherhood state, that before man was placed on earth, the stars in the sky did not exist, and were created by man. So, did man really create the stars, or simply discover what was already there? Answer. Don't forget, that nothing exists, no planet Earth, no people, nothing, but the one, tiny dot of life. That dot, is you. It is also everyone, and everything. You create all that exists, in your imagination. Even you don't really exist, as you see yourself. You are just a tiny dot of life, alone, in an empty void. But, as that is not very beneficial, you have created all that exists in your life, rather as if you have created a play, or a film. So, all the stars you see in the night sky, you, in conjunction with other minds, have created. There is nothing that actually exists, outside of you being a living force. The collective minds of all people, have created all that we see. Rather a sobering thought, don't you think? If you think an idea, that seems original to you, it is sent to the Akashic record. It is not judged, but just stored in the Akashic record. As there is only one higher self, one Akashic record, and one imagination for all people, that idea is also available to all people, should they wish to know it.
Thank you for watching this video lesson. Please visit www the Great White Brotherhood.org for more lessons and free downloadable books.